Okay. Okay, so first let's just look at this idea of Hashivenu Avinu L'Sorasecha, V'Korvenu Malkeinu La'avadosecha. Okay, so what did we mean here? So we're asking Hashem, right? And when we ask Hashem, what do we like? What's the expectation when you're speaking to Hashem as your father? What's your expectation?
He's going to answer us because we.
Yeah, why is he going to answer you? Why is he going to answer you?
Because he loves us.
Yes, he loves you. There's like a very unconditional love that a child has with a parent and a parent to a child. And if a child, I think even a parent loves their child more than their child even loves the parent.
Yeah.
Not to be mean about it, but you've given so much to them. Do you know what I mean? Like you've given so much to them that you love them very unconditionally. So what we're asking here when we say Hashem, like return us, bring us back, because we want to go home. We want to go home to you. So we're asking you, please, to bring us home. So what was the question that we had? Do you remember from before? Hashivenu Avinu L'Sorasecha. If you were going to say, Hashem, bring me
home.
Yes. Would you really say, bring me, you'd say, bring me to you, bring me to home, bring me to where we're together. But here we're saying, Hashivenu Avinu L'Sorasecha. Why would we say that? Why are we saying, Hashem, bring us back to the Torah?
We drifted away
from the Torah.
What? Say that again. So we'll take turns. So Sandy?
Learning the Torah brings us back and closer to Hashem.
Yeah. Okay. So learning the Torah is your only way to Hashem, to be really honest, right? And the Torah, when you are reading Torah, God is talking to you. Okay. So when you're learning Torah, Hashem is talking to you. When you daven to Hashem, you're talking to him. But you have to understand the only way you're going to ever know how to connect to Hashem is if you know Torah. That's the bottom line. Okay, that's what's going to define you. Hashem gave a piece of you in him, a piece of him in you, okay, backwards, all right, called your neshama, right? And you have to, your neshama is what's like, it's moving you and taking you in different directions. You have to understand why in this direction, why this pull, because this pull is towards Hashem. Okay, and then it says, V'korvenu malkeinu la'avadosecha, and our king, our king, bring us close to your service. Okay, so what did we say the service was? Does anybody remember? Anybody remember? So the service is the idea of taking the guf. That's what you're asking for. Because the body doesn't really want to serve Hashem. I could really vouch that the body doesn't want to do anything but sleep. Anybody else can vouch that one? Okay. Like I see, every time I have to wake up in the morning, I always press snooze, or whatever it's called. It's very hard for me to just get out. And all I want to do is kind of roll over. Okay, so that's what the body wants to do. So we have to get it into the service of Hashem. That's what we're asking. We're asking Hashem, like, bring the body into the service of you. Because the neshama has to help harness you. It's going to be impossible unless Hashem helps us. Just totally impossible. And then what do we want? The hachatzirenu, right? What is that? It's interesting. The word that they use here is incredible. They use influence. Influence us to do a tshuva shalema, to do a complete tshuva. So what would a complete tshuva mean? And what does it mean when we say Hashem influence? What does that mean when we ask Hashem influence us to bring us to do a complete tshuva, lifanecha, before you? What do you think those words mean? What does it mean, influence us? What do you think?
Help us to do it sincerely.
Yes, because the honest to goodness truth is we've got to keep thinking this. Like every time you feel like that big struggle and you have to overcome and it's so hard and I don't want to get up, I really have to say, you know what, Hashem, I need your help. I can't do it. I really can't do it. The truth is we can't. Okay, it's home field advantage here. It's impossible. It's really almost impossible to work through only a neshama view, right? The body is such a big pull. I'm going to mute them. Okay. Wait, you okay, Brenda? Because I don't want to mute.
We just had another great grandson.
Oh, wow. Okay. Take a moment for a shout out. Okay. That's so beautiful. We're so happy. That's so nice. Oh, wow. Great grandson. Okay, so we're going to learn in merit of this beautiful mazel tov, right? And in merit of all the help that people need on every different
means a lot.
Okay, I think I'm going to
I'm going to
point to mute. Okay. Okay, so you ready? It was very cute. Okay. So yeah, so what are we saying? Yeah, why are we understand the idea of the influence. What do you mean by a tshuva shalema? What do you mean by a complete tshuva. What do you mean? Like, I really want to come home to you. I want to come home to you very sincerely, Hashem. I don't want to just do half-baked tshuva. So what's a half-baked tshuva versus a complete tshuva? You have to unmute.
Authentic and sincere.
Yes, perfect. Okay, because sometimes like people are not really doing tshuva to come close to Hashem. Like this is a big foundational element in our religion, right? And in the 7 mitzvahs of Bnei Noach. This has to be for a connection to Hashem. So sometimes like it's, it's kind of like, I like Shabbos, I like this thing, it's kind of cool. There's the community and I see that they're so helpful. I would rather live in this place where if I had a baby, 10 meals would come in, or if I needed a car, there's 10 rides and there's a WhatsApp group on how to help you every single second. That can be very enticing in the kind of world that we live today. People are very isolated, they feel very alone, right? So you have to appreciate that. Or like, you kind of did tshuva. Like sometimes I find that like we got to be very, very careful because it's very hard to get rid of some old ideas. Like sometimes I go places and I see like me included, like tshuva isn't so 100%. It's not, it's like the spirit of the law is missing. Things are a little crumb. Like it's not really the best mechitza, or halfway through, we're all on the other side and the guys are all on our side. And I'm like, hey, you know what I mean? It just happens, right? So we've got to be very careful, right? That you're looking for tshuva shalema. Now that word shalema is in a couple places, but not many. So it's a tshuva shalema. What else? I wish you when you're not well.
Refuah.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? You don't say a refuah, you say refuah shalema. And you want to know something? When it comes to the geula, you say a geula shalema. When I want you to have a redemption, I want you to have a geula shalema. So the word shalema is really beautiful. It's really a beautiful idea. So refuah shalema, tshuva shalema, geula shalema is all, I want it to be so complete that you're better than when you started off. When I want to wish you a refuah shalema, I want you to be even healthier than you were before you got sick, right? Because your health before you got sick was obviously very tedious because it led you into being sick. So when I'm wishing you a refuah shalema, I'm wishing you like completely that you wouldn't fall prey. You know what it is? It's like when Khalila, someone has cancer, right? And they go into remission. We want more than they go into remission. What do we want?
A refuah shalema.
Right, a refuah shalema, a complete cure. So the same thing, a tshuva shalema is you don't want like sort of, and you're still carrying the baggage from behind, from the past, and you can't get rid of the song in your head, and you can't get rid of this dress and your favorite pair of jeans because you just never know. You know what I mean? Like a tshuva shalema is, I'm putting them in the bag and they're out of here. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to think about them. I'm not going to wish about them. I'm not going to dray a cup about them. You know what I mean? Like, want a tshuva shalema, sincere tshuva that really is, I want you, Hashem. I'm not buying into this for all the bells and whistles. I'm buying into this because I want you, right? And it's hard. Like all of us have different areas that are so hard to fight, so hard. And we sometimes get into circumstances that are impossible, like we see with this little boy, Nebuch, who passed away, right? Like they have to carry that. Like we can go, oh, it's all, the Tehillim went to Shemayim and advocated, but they have to carry all this pain and this memory, like going forward, right? So whatever we have, we want to geula shalema, like, okay, we're going to understand it. One day it's really going to turn in us and we'll understand why this all had to happen. It will be a real shalem geula. And that's what we're looking for right now, right? That's right? In the Ikvis de Mashiach, at the end, when he comes, that's what we're looking for. That Hashem will finally explain. That's what they say. Hashem will explain to us. The doubts will go and the clarity will come in. Like it'll be a complete, beautiful reality. Okay? So let me just see what else I wanted to tell you because I'm looking at my page. That's the story, but I don't want to say that. Okay, now. Okay. So let's see, where's page 1? Okay. All right. So let me see. Okay. Okay. Now, when you say this, now this is really weird. Okay, so everybody take a look at this bracha. And from what I'm going to tell you now, I want you to take a pencil if you are in your siddur that you use, like I am about to take a pencil, and I'm going to underline this because I want you to have a certain kind of kavanah here that is really incredible. So when it says here, but so we said, bring us back, give us a complete tshuva, lifanecha, before you, that would pass your test. Because sometimes the tshuva looks only on the outside, but on the inside, it's not sincere. Only in front of Hashem, he knows your heart. So a tshuva shalema lifanecha means like 100% good tshuva that is sincere from the heart. Then it says, Baruch atah Hashem harotzeh b'sishuva. What does that mean? Anybody take a look at that and tell me what you think it means. You guys have your sitters? Anybody have a sitter here? Yeah? Sandy, do you have a sitter? Tanya? Okay, good. Okay, so take a look. It's a very different ending than all the other brachas. There's only 2 brachas that kind of end this way. Like if you look, compare it, Sandy, for a minute, for the one that talks about the refuah. Okay, then it says at the end of that one, Baruch atah Hashem rofei cholei amo Yisroel. That is very different than the other ending. Okay, when you talk about the refuah, you end up saying, yes, blessed are you, Hashem. You're the doctor of all the sick people of the Jewish people. Here it says, Baruch atah Hashem, harotzeh b'sishuva. Blessed are you.
It's us.
Right? Say that again. You got it, girl. Say what you just said.
That's us. It's blessing for us to do what we
Yes,
need to
it's
do as
us,
opposed to
because
Hashem.
Hashem can't be the rush
Can't
of
make us.
He can't make you do it. He can't make you do it. But what he can tell you is that he really wants it. Okay? And how much does he want it? That he gives you a chance 3 times a day to keep doing tshuva. Right? This whole thing is about giving us this opportunity to do tshuva. And the only one who can really come forward with it is us. You can't make someone say they're sorry. And you know what, when they used to, remember we were growing up, that talk about tshuva. Okay, remember when we were growing up, who remembers Love Story? Who remembers that was like the biggest thing in the whole world? Does anybody remember this? Brent, okay, thank you. Thank
That
you
was
for saving me. Gabriella, you remember it? Did you
That
have
was,
a story in with this
Of course.
movie? It was like the biggest deal, and its big mantra was, love means never having to say you're sorry.
rubbish.
Completely the opposite of what love really means. Okay, so love means never having to say you're sorry is not the case at all. Okay, so here we're saying it's such an, I love this idea that Hashem is waiting for your tshuva. He wants it. Like he's like sitting at home. We muffed up, we made mistakes. All of us have that. All of us have that in our hearts. You are, you're hoping like somebody did something not so great. Yeah, you're going to forgive them. You're really waiting. You're like just waiting for them to recognize. That's what the reality here is to recognize and validate the relationship. That's what he's saying. So I'm waiting for you to recognize and validate this relationship. And if you don't, what's it called? You don't like look at yourself and realize like we've made mistakes when it comes to this relationship, then it's never going to get anywhere. Right? So Hashem is saying, I'm just yearning. I'm sitting here and I will forgive you. And when you're going to go through the next paragraph, you're going to see how easy it is to get Hashem's forgiveness. Yes, we want this tshuva shlema. We want it with a real heart. But it's interesting because Hashem is asking for you from this for all 3 times in a day. So why? Why do we have to keep saying I'm sorry 3 times in a day? Like, think about it for your own self. Think about it in your relationships generally. You go in your day, do you have to say sorry? Like, if you really would think about it, have you slipped up? Have you like forgotten something? Did you come late to this appointment? Did you know what I mean? Did you or didn't you?
3 times a day?
Yeah, 3 times a day. You make mistakes. I probably make more than 3 times a day. 3 times a day, you could say something to someone you don't even know. And they took it like, what does she mean by that? You know what I mean? Or 3 times a day, you could have honked, you could have driven, like that I can for sure. Today I was going to the, what's it called? I was going on the way to the performance. And of course, there's always those little things with ways that I get mixed up. Okay. I just, at the last second, I missed it, So then what did I was trying to turn and then a million cars are going, and I'm like, wait a minute, guys. Okay. Like during the day, you naturally will make mistakes. Okay, so even in the way you treat yourself, even in the words you might say to yourself, you know what I mean? You will. Okay, so it's fine. So Hashem says it's fine. I know it. I understand it. I get you. I'm not sitting here expecting perfection. We're all a work in progress.
Progress.
Yeah, that's all I'm looking for. I'm just looking for you to be that work in progress for me. And if something does go wrong, something hurts, tell me. Even if you feel Hashem is doing negative to you, you know, sometimes like, God, what the heck are you doing? Like, do you understand what's going on here? Like, hello, right? So sometimes you're saying like, Hashem, I want to return to you. And Hashem saying, I know you want to return, but Hashem, feel like you put this block in front of us. I need your help. Like, influence me, help me to get past that block, right? And Hashem saying, that's all I want. That's what I want to tell you more. So this is a good thing to underline, because you're knowing that Hashem is always open, waiting for you to come home. That's a big thing. There's some people, when they get mad at you or you do something wrong, how many people have these stories in their family? They don't talk to each other for 35 years. And they don't even go to the funeral. Like, it doesn't matter. Goodbye. Why? Because you sat me near the band at the bar mitzvah. And that's it. And nobody can get over it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So we have to really appreciate this. Okay, so let me see if there was anything else that I needed to say, because I don't want to make a mistake. So you were very good, Sandy, we're bang on. The whole idea is you have to initiate the process. And the only other time that you'll see it in Shemona Esrei is in another place when you have to initiate the process. And that is when you're talking about when you're talking about being a good person, when you're talking about tzedek, that we should do what's righteous. It also ends with like Hashem loves righteousness. That's what it ends with, that Hashem loves righteousness. And it doesn't end with Hashem is the righteous one. No, Hashem loves righteousness, meaning he has to see us do righteousness. If we are righteous, this is hard. Being righteous isn't easy. Being righteous means you also call out when things are corrupt. Okay? Like that means, like, you know, all these signing these petitions and everything that's going on out there, like it's calling out what is corrupt. You know, Rabbi Victor Miller used to say, like, that is our demonstration. That's our demonstration of caring about justice. Giving tzedakah is also justice, right? Giving tzedakah is called tzedek, right? You have to initiate these things. These are not things Hashem can, you know, take your hand and take your money and put it in a pushka. You have to do all the initiation with this. And when you do the initiation, then Hashem follows up. And he tells you one of his greatest things that he loves is when there is justice. Why does he love justice? Like right now, you're in a corrupt world. You are not seeing justice. You are seeing the exact opposite. So when you're looking at the world we're in and the corruption of justice, why would Hashem hate that and really love when there is justice? Why does he say, even to the goyim, you must have judges, you must have police officers, you must have law and order, you must have justice? What does justice do for us?
Justice is supposed to keep things straight so that people stay on the good and deviate from the bad.
Right.
Just like you were saying, right now, we may have judges and we may have police and we have what's supposed to be justice, but we don't.
We don't. It's so incredibly corrupt. Justice brings unity. Justice is actually a validation of the value of mankind. Right? That's what it really is. And that's why it's so painful for people. Like today, people who are getting robbed or this or that, and they don't do a thing about it. Then it just makes you feel like, what am I? Like, am I a shmata? Am I nothing? Like, you can imagine what goes on. So this is the idea, and those things have to be, like you said, initiated by us. When we say, Baruch atah Hashem harotzeh b'tshuva, it's a good idea to put a little, if you want to write in English, I've got your back. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, that's Hashem saying, I've got your back. And that is incredible because that's the only person who does have your back and the only person who has the power to have your back. So it's really a beautiful idea. Okay. Now, when we're able to do this tshuva and you do this tshuva shalema, then we can bring down all the bracha that we need. And the idea, when it comes to the idea of the justice, we have to realize that this is part of what the Torah tells us. It mamish tells you, you have to love chesed, you have to pursue good, you have to walk in the ways of Hashem humbly. That's the whole idea, okay? So you guys did so nicely. So now we're going on to Salach Lanu Avinu, Ki Chatanu, Machal Lanu Malkenu. Okay, so where do you see these words? Like where they're coming from? What is this?
Yom Kippur.
Yeah, you see it on Yom Kippur. What is this idea? It's
Vidui.
yeah, vidui. So now you're coming to confession. So you're going to say the first paragraph, Hashem, I really want to come back. Hashem, I really love you. I want to be with you. And Hashem's like, yay, thanks for coming. I have your back. I've been here all the time. And now you're saying, okay, let me be real. Okay, let me be real. And that's why I think it's very, when you see this, you're going to be so happy. So let me be real with you. Let me understand. Let me admit. That's what's going on. When you do Salach Lanu and you do confession, you admit. What's so great about admitting that you did something wrong?
Because then you can
Lifts the weight.
change it.
What? Say that again,
Sorry.
sorry, Leora?
But then you can change it if
Okay, then you
acknowledge
can change it. What else, Sandy?
It lifts the weight off of you.
Okay, lifts the weight off you because what have you done? You've taken responsibility. You are not in a world, get like real with this. Nobody admits to their mistakes. What do they do instead? Yeah.
Make
Point the
excuses.
fingers, make excuses, and point the fingers at everybody else. So everybody says, like, when you do this and you point a finger, there's one finger at that person, but there's three at you, okay? Which means you have to take responsibility, okay? And that's huge. Like, it sounds funny, but it isn't easy. And when you, like, even when you have to say, you know, I did it, what do you usually do? I did it. You're right. I was late, but, you know, like that, you know, they say like, you know, husbands and wives will do that a lot. You know, you're right. I didn't pick up the cleaning, but you never pick anything up for me. Do you know what I mean? Right? Like, so we got to be really, really careful, right? So when you're saying this Salach Lanu, this is brave. This is very brave of you. You are modeh, just like when you say moda ani in the morning. Thank you, Hashem. I'm alive. You gave me my neshama. You have so much faith in me. You're the best. When you say Salach Lanu, moda, I acknowledge Hashem that I made a mistake in this relationship. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Forgive me. Okay, I admit it. I'm not playing any games. I'm not pretending I'm a saint. I'm not saying, oh, the world is so hard. I can't do this. And if you're saying the world is so hard, I can't do this, but I admit that I'm not doing it and I can't do it without you. I need your help. Do you see what I'm saying? That's what you're doing here. Okay, and those are very, very important words for all of us. All right. And okay, when we're going to go through, like, if you look at the way it flows, it changes. It starts with Salach Lanu and Machal Lanu, and then at the end, it goes Ki, Mochel v'Soleach Ata. Okay, then it changes. So we have to know what the difference is between Salach and Mochel, and why does Mochel turn in, and then Salach change places. Okay, that's what we're going to be looking at. Okay, so let me just get there. Okay, so, okay, we said that. Okay, so it's interesting when you say Salach Lanu Avinu. So first of all, you know you're moving into an atmosphere and an area. When you're calling Hashem Avinu, what are we looking for? Father's compassion. Okay. So what do we always say about a father's compassion? Very unconditional love, very loving. Okay. So when we say Salach Lanu Avinu Ki Chatanu, now Chet is a word that we have to all know what it means, okay? Because we get very confused. And even when you always say, like, you'll see there's Chet, Avon, and Pesha, right? Like, what's the difference? Why are we having different names for these things? So what does Chet mean? Okay, so Chet is your least discretion, like the least thing that you did your least, what I would say, what's it like, discretion, the thing that you did that wasn't so great. Chet is the easiest. Chet means to miss the target. If somebody's playing archery and they miss, the arrow misses, it's a chet, okay? It means you miss the target. So why would you miss the target? It's unintentional sin. You didn't know. You know, like you're eating raspberries. You know, they're so delicious. And then somebody says, you know, you can't check raspberries. You're not really allowed to eat raspberries. You're like, what? Oh, I didn't know, right? It was a chet. It was a mistake. They call it bishgaga, by accident. Okay. Sometimes something is a chet. Like you were in the Sobeys and you want to make sure your grapes are good, and you happen to pick a grape off and make a little bracha and eat it. Okay. Guess what? That's a little hate. What's the hate?
You didn't pay for it.
Oh, yeah, you didn't pay for it. Like it's not a joke. If every person who walked through Sobeys wanted to taste the grapes, there won't be any grapes left by the end of the day, and nobody would have paid for them. So it's like a little discretion, and you're like, oh, so that's the beauty of it. So when you say salach here, you're saying, Hashem, like, forgive me, I'm your child. So I made some boo-boos. Like, like when the children have to come home and admit, I took the cookie from the cookie jar, or I spilt the milk, or I did this, like, but the parent looks at this and goes, "Ay, don't worry, my little bubala, you're my little baby, don't worry about it." And salach is, like, I'm even willing to take the consequence. If there is a consequence, I'm willing to take it. All I want is the relationship to be solid again. Okay? That's what I'm really looking for. I'm just looking for this solid relationship again. That's all. That's all you're looking at. So it's just interesting. This whole idea, I just want to preface this, is every one of these paragraphs in Shemona Esrei are usually found a case study in the Torah. There's a case study in the Torah. So what's the case study of this idea of being able to admit that you were wrong, right? And at the end, you're getting your forgiveness, but you were admitting that you made the mistake and you didn't blame anyone else. And the key place where you find this idea is the story of Tamar and Yehuda. Who knows the story? Okay, so just quick. So Tamar is the daughter of Shem, the son of Noach. Okay, so she's a very righteous, beautiful woman, stunning, stunning, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, and she ends up marrying, Yehuda has two sons. Okay, and she marries one son and he dies, the second son, and he dies, right? And now they haven't had any children. So she needs like what Rus needed, which was called a goel, a redeemer. Okay. Now, people are looking at her really in the Torah. It's not great if your husbands keep dying on you. That doesn't look good, all right? So Torah says we got to investigate why the husbands are dying. So why were the husbands dying? They were doing an Avera. Okay, she was really, really beautiful, and they didn't want her to impregnate her. Okay, so they would just waste their seed, so to speak, and they just wanted her to stay beautiful like that. Okay, so she sees, she has like a ruach, ruach hakodesh. She has this like understanding that she has to get married, and from this Yehuda is going to come her and Yehuda are going to have a child together, and he is going to be the beginning of the dynasty of Mashiach. Okay, remember what we say, things are very murky in places where greatness has to be. Okay, so she dresses up as a zona. She dresses up as a prostitute, stands at the corner. Yehuda didn't even want to go to her. It's like Hashem. It's one of the times in the Torah where they say Bechira wasn't so clear, and Yehuda's like pushed into going into this relationship. And then he's like, wants to run out of it. Like, oh my God, what did I just do? And he runs so quickly that he forgets, I think it was his signet ring. Am I right? After the ring and his staff. Okay, he's forgotten it. And he just goes on and he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. And, off to regular life. And what happens is that Tamar ends up showing that she's pregnant. Now everybody thinks that she's an adulteress and what did she do? And she's so horrible and blah, blah, blah. So they're about to really give her a major punishment. And the whole like town is there, including Yehuda. Okay. And now she goes, I just want everyone to know before you do anything to me, please know that the person who impregnated me is the one who owns this staff and owns this ring. And Yehuda's standing right there. Okay, so let's be real. How many of us could have, that public humiliation for Yehuda at this point in time? And she didn't publicly humiliate him. She's a tzaddikas. All these women are tzaddikas. I want you to know the greatness of women. They will wait for Hashem to play a story. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the hardest part, I think, for all of us. We are very driven to be in control. And they're able, I don't know how they do it. I'm being honest. Remember when we learned all about David Amelech's mother? Like, I don't know how they can do it. She could sit for 28 years and wait to see. You know what I mean? The glory, the day of glory. Like, I don't know how we do. I'm telling you, like, it would take such strength. That's who they are. So she's waiting. She doesn't go, before you kill me, right? She doesn't do that. right? She goes, before you kill me, let me just tell you, please, let me explain, and holds up the stuff. And then this is a huge moment. And because Yehuda admitted at that point in time and did not point any other fingers at anybody else, really, it's Tamar's fault. She seduced me. No, I accept it fully. And you know what he said? The words he said? He said, she is more righteous than me. When he said that, the Malachim in Shemayim, the angels in Shemayim, said, Salach, we like, look at these Jewish people, Hashem. You need to bring into the world the concept of forgiveness. This is incredible. It's like really something to think about. That's what happened. When he said that, he acknowledged the truth. She's more righteous than the Malachim in Shemayim. Said, we're going to bring this idea, Hashem, you have to bring an idea of forgiveness into the world. And that's like this incredible, atmosphere of blessing that we have. So it's like really something we have to be so appreciative of it. That's what the point is. And it's funny. In fact, I want to tell you, I want to know who the person was. Okay, let me see if I could find it later. But the rabbis tell us, like, listen to this. I'm going to underline this also, okay? Okay, I want you to underline this. Like when you say Salach lanu avinu ki chatanu, what kind of, like what feelings, what kind of mood should you think you should have? Like you're clapping. Okay, so what's the clap is to wake you up. That's what it's really for. But what is it supposed to wake you up? I want to tell you, like, when we do it in Yom Kippur, they say you have to be very contrite and your head should be down and you're so sorrowful. Here, the rabbis tell you should have a big giant smile on your face. Could you imagine? You have to have a big smile on your face that Hashem has created this thing of forgiveness, and that's what he wants. You should be going, Slach lanu, Hashem, you're so good. You know what I mean? Like we always think we have to go, oh, we're so bad. The world's so terrible. Everything's so terrible. No, the opposite. Thank you so much. You gave us a way out. All right. We admit. We're not going to lie to you. We're not going to pretend anything. We admit. Do you know what I mean? Salach lanu. Oh, Hashem, you're so good, right? You want to forgive us. You put this into the structure of the world. It's such a beautiful idea. You should do it with great joy because your Father is willing to forgive you. That's how it should be said, with tons of joy. Okay, you're sorry I damaged the relationship. I'm sorry I damaged the relationship, but I'm so happy because I know you're going to take me back. I don't think you can do that with so many people. You can't. Why can't you do that with the average person? Why can't you go, oh, I'm so sorry, I know you're going to take me back. Why can't you do that?
Ego.
Yeah. Ego. And their ego. They're like, what do you mean I'm going to take you back? Let me hear a real sorry. I don't think you're so sorry if you're smiling. Okay, right? Like, do you see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? You get to smile because it's a guaranteed yes. That's what the beauty is. It's a guaranteed yes. Salach lanu, Hashem, I'm trying my best. I'm just a little puny person in probably the worst generation of the Jewish people. We are in the absolute worst time in history. I don't think there's never been anything like this. Like, I'm being honest. You could want to hide in a ghetto, forget it. It's all seeping through the door. Everywhere you go is all the garbage. Like, really? Right? And you don't think it affects you? It affects you. Right? You're in a smelly fish store, guys. Okay. You're not smelling the fish anymore because you've been stuck here for so long, but it's really a fishy, smelly store. I'm being real. So like it says that even if you have a hirhur of tshuva, what's a hirhur of tshuva? Like a little, yeah, you know what? I think I really, should be talking to Hashem. Just for that alone, Hashem says, Salach, I forgive you. Because that's what it takes today. You are so under the mud that if you just say, oh, Hashem, yeah, like, sorry. And Hashem says, whoa, I've been waiting, bing, bing, so happy. It's like a beautiful idea. Okay, that's something that we need to really take into ourselves. It's really beautiful because we are not a generation, I'm being honest, that can beat ourselves up anymore. We can't. The anxiety level is too high. The depression level is too high. Our minds are spinning like on a hamster wheel, right? Between the bing from your WhatsApp and the bing from your text and the bing from your, right? And like it or not, you forever are looking for your phone. And if you're like me, you're forever losing it. Okay. That alone is enough to make me crazy. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? Right? So it's not that Hashem has such low expectations of us. It's just that the challenge is so high. The challenge is probably higher than it's ever been. I'm being honest. I'm really being honest. I remember I listened to a story, and this was maybe 15 years ago. So you can imagine whatever I'm saying now, it's on steroids. So Rabbi Azriel Tauber of blessed memory. So he was one of the most incredible men. I still read his stuff and listen to his classes. He was amazing. He came once or twice to Westmount. He was a chassid. He was a multi-millionaire. He had 12 children, and he survived the Holocaust. Like, just simple things like that. Okay, and a prolific writer. He did Discovery, he did it for the original Discovery. What's the original Discovery? It just slips my mind. Achenu or Chave, what was it called? There's an original Arachim, all over the world for free. I was like really such a phenomenal person. And he said a story. He said that, one time he had to, his flight got canceled and he ended up stuck in LA. Okay, so LA or Vegas, somewhere like really gross. Okay, and he's in a hotel, right? And he wanted to just learn. He's sitting in this big, beautiful chair and he's sitting down and he wants to learn. And he opens up his Gemara, and what happens? He fell asleep. And when he woke up later, he was like berating himself. How could I fall asleep? He was a descendant of the Chasam Sofer. And he's like, how could I? I have a family of rabbis, my father, my this, my that. And he was like about to beat himself up. And then he looked down on the chair. And what was on the chair? On the sides of the chair were all the buttons to the television. And you could put any disgusting program, pornography you wanted, just with the press of a button. So he said, Hashem, maybe I can't learn like my ancestors. They were 24/7. Maybe I can't. But they never had the test that I have. I'm alone in this room. Nobody sees me. Nobody knows what I do. And the flip of a button, I can put myself into the island of paradise and no one will know. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's what we have to appreciate with ourselves today. I don't think it's going to take that much to get us over the hump. I know that people are thinking how can Mashiach come and blah, blah, blah. You know what? I think all the little tshuva, everything, it's already up to the top. Okay, we're almost at the full jar. Okay, so now it's just going to take a little more. So that's what it is. So when you see this, Hashivenu Hashem, and you see Salach Lanu, you're going to say, Hashem, I'm so joyful because I know in the end, you don't want to punish us. You're not here to us. You actually just want us to say sorry. And I can't be the best. I wish I could. I'm a work in progress. I make mistakes, but I know you love me anyway. And even if I spilled the milk and I broke the refrigerator because I left the door open, what the things your kids do. Right? Having my Einiglach live with me, I know the screen door's off now. All these, I got a bunch. I have a whole list of repairs. But guess what? I forgive them. And if they say sorry, I'm really going to forgive them. It's going to be on steroids. But this is what I'm trying to say. So that's a very beautiful way for us to look at it. Okay? Okay. So that's it. We are grateful. Here is the word. Oh, that's the word, the key word. Write it over here. Grateful. I am grateful, Hashem, that you set it up this way. Because we could Chalila be in some kind of crazy, ridiculous way where you made a mistake and lightning comes and knocks you out. That's all. Bye. Every time you did something wrong, if we had no forgiveness, oh my gosh, we'd all be in the street, right?
So I got in late. What is it? Where are you in the prayer?
Okay, so I'm glad you're here. So we're in the Salach Lanu Avinu. Okay, so right after Hashivenu Avinu, we're in Salach Lanu Avinu. We're learning all about forgiveness. And actually, when you say Salach Lanu and you say Ki Chatanu, you should actually be doing it with tons of joy and tons of gratitude. Okay, And we said the word chet means something you did by accident, so what's the problem when you do something by accident? Okay, why do we do something by accident? Usually, how does an accident happen?
You're not paying attention.
Ah, that's really the truth, right? Most of the time, right, it's because you aren't paying attention. So that's why it's still, right? Or this idea, well, I didn't think it was the worst thing. How could you rectify
So
something?
if I would have pressed that button in the hotel, it was an accident?
Only for you. If you press that button in the hotel by accident, what would show me if you were really, had the right frame of mind or not? Tell me. You pressed it by accident,
not
the
the
show
right
gets on, and now what?
Wow.
If it was just an accident, what would you do right away?
Just shut it off.
If it wasn't an accident, it was more curiosity, then curiosity killed the cat. Right? That's how you know. Okay?
Gail, what is an intentional hate? What's
So
an
an intentional hate means I know I'm doing wrong. Like it's like this. See that chocolate cake? I know I really finished eating. I know I don't have to be a glutton. And I know I'm doing the wrong thing. Give me the cake. Okay. That's okay. A hate, that's an avon. That's intentional. That's like you really just saying, you know what, Hashem, I can't do it. I don't care. I want
But
to say
it's not called a hate?
no, because a hate is by accident. An
So what is it called?
avon is you did it on purpose, like not purpose. You did it because you admit I just can't handle
But I
this.
never learned this before. When we do all the al hates, those are all hates.
Hate avon pesha. You'll see that like when it says silach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu, and it'll say on the hate, on the avon, and on the pesha. And you'll see it even in the
Okay.
yeah, actually it's very good for you to know. Like I'm glad for us to really articulate and know the differences. Okay.
Question.
Yeah, sorry, Esther, go ahead.
The question. In Bet Mikdash, you could not bring korban if you made the chet on purpose.
Right.
Chet on purpose, there is no kapara on
Right.
it.
No, that's a different thing. That's a different
Is that
thing.
true?
No, let me speak to you and I'll tell you the three things. Okay. So
Okay.
let's understand. Chet is, it's good for us to know. Accident. How did this accident happen? I didn't concentrate. I really didn't care. I really wasn't focused. And the same thing when you think, well, we took the little grape, really, what's your business? What is your business? What's the beginning of the whole story? Hashivenu l'sorasecha. Your business is to learn Torah. You can't go around going, I really didn't know. Why didn't you know? Because you didn't learn. Like I sometimes feel I'm going to get that for my Shabbos. I got to start learning the halacha better. Okay. Anyway, do you know what I'm trying to say? Okay. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So that's chet. Avon is the temptation was too great. I couldn't do it, Hashem. I'm really sorry. I was so angry at that person that I just called up my friend and I had to say, you want to know what a stinker that person is? Like I couldn't hold myself back from the Lashon Hara. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it, Hashem. I'm sorry because really, you could have done it. You could do it. Hashem wouldn't give you a test you can't pass. You just have to ask for Hashem's help. Sometimes they'll tell you, like it's very interesting, like even in the pop psychology world, they'll tell you when you're about to get angry, what should you do?
Count to 10.
Yes, count to 10. Take a deep breath. Say time out. Okay, I'll have to go and just cool off a little. Then I can come back and talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Those are realities. Okay. Okay. And then the last one.
So hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. So Avon, the Avon, what does that mean?
No, it's a different word. That's Avon. That's have a healthy appetite. It's spelled differently than Avon.
Good. Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah, because you want to have a healthy appetite. Okay, so now the last one is a pesha. Pesha is when you do it on purpose. You go, really, there's a God. Let me show you. Click, put the light on Shabbos. I'm still here. Okay, that's a pesha. A pesha is like a rebellion. You actually kind of rebel against Hashem. Not a simple story. So if you look here, Salach lanu avinu ki chatanu, then it says machal lanu malkeinu. Oh, this is a different. Machal here is I want a royal pardon from the king because I did something really bad. I rebelled. Okay. So sometimes, like even in ancient times, you could have rebelled against the king, but you say, you know, I'm really sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. It was so stupid. It was impetuous. I was angry. I was this. Please, Michael me, okay? Please give me your royal pardon. All right? This is going to take, Mechila is actually going to take, I mean, on our human terms, not on Hashem's terms, but on our human terms, Mechila is, it takes a lot. That's why you see, like I want to tell you, and it's not funny at all. That's why you see when people break engagements, they have a thing that they're supposed to write called a shtar mechila. You break an engagement, it was considered like a contract between these two people. They really were, you know, expecting to get married. This wasn't a small story, right? And, you know, there are usually very hurt feelings. That somebody told me that they had the whole wedding prepared, okay? It was two families out of town. These two people who were getting married knew each other like since high school sweethearts. Day of the wedding. Do you imagine? You're dressing, you're all getting on your makeup, everybody's coming, everything is paid for. No caterer is going to, everything is done. Photographer, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's there. And in the morning, he called up and said, I can't go through with it. It's a true story. And I'm not blaming him, and I'm not blaming anybody in the story. I'm not no pointing fingers, okay? This is just the reality of what happened. So Torah tells you, like, feelings-wise, if you were the girl, how would you feel? If you're the girl's parents, you know, you want to kill that guy. Like, let's be real, okay? That is like shame, shame, shame. It isn't, but you feel it, right? You feel it, even if you did nothing wrong, but you still feel extremely rejected, extremely angry. So you need a shtar mechila. Do you know that you have to go through that whole story, and then you have to send each other, you sign this document that you forgive the other person. And sometimes you can be asking people and they say, no, I can't do it yet. Because when you sign it, you have to sign it with a full heart.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not a small story. It's not a small story. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. If you see the word mechila here, this is to Michael someone here, to royally pardon them, to really forgive somebody who rebelled against you. That's not so easy. That's so not easy. You're going to have to take a lot of effort. So now I want to tell you something really very beautiful when it comes to the concept of tshuva, okay? And I want you to listen, because what happens when it comes to the concept of tshuva, it's very interesting. As you do your tshuva, the discretions that you do change, okay? So I just want to go through that with you, and I'm going to have to go through with you looking at the paper, or I'm going to get into trouble and I won't be saying it right, and I don't want to do that, okay? Okay, so he said he forgives us so generously. We know that, and okay. We should be amazingly grateful that what we said already. Okay, now, okay, so let me just see. Okay, sorry. Okay, what we should also be very grateful for is that Hashem, I'm going to do the chait in a second. First, let me just give one other point that I forgot that was very important. When Hashem forgives you, you have to realize it's quantitatively and qualitatively, okay? So let me explain. Quantitatively means, like, let's say somebody did something and you really didn't like it, okay? They always park their car behind you, okay? Who hates that? All right, I will raise my hand. You know, in the morning when you want to run out and you just want to get out of the driveway and there's somebody's car behind you, like, it's like, ah, okay? So they go, oh, I'm so sorry. I really didn't mean it. Oh, so what do? Okay, no problem. Okay, just remember, tomorrow I go to work again. Okay, yeah, I know. Wake up in the morning, what happens? Cars parked behind you. Okay. Excuse me, you know, you parked the car behind me. Like, oh, I did. Oh, just totally forgot. I'm like just such a Michigana. Next day. Now, how many days could you take that?
It's annoying. That's very annoying.
Okay. But Hashem, he doesn't get annoyed. You can ask him a million times. How many times you forget your bracha rona? Anybody ever forget the bracha rona? Like they finish eating their apple, their orange, their this, their that. I'm not talking benching. I'm just talking the little, little stuff, right?
I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed.
All of us. Then you go up to sleep. Did I ever say that?
Or sometimes when it's in my mouth, and then I remembered to say the bracha, so I'm whoa, 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 whoa.
So funny. Okay, so that's what I mean. So imagine every day we go to Hashem, and qualitatively, he doesn't care. He couldn't care less. You could ask him 1,000 trillion times. It doesn't bother him at all. And when we say qualitatively, like, listen, if the person who kept doing that behind my car, so the first day, okay, no problem. Second day, I hope you remember. Third day, you forgot again. Fourth day, I'm really getting annoyed. Hashem is just, oh, that's amazing. Come home. Oh, that's amazing. Come home. Oh, that's amazing. Come home. Okay? That's what we have to be grateful for. Right? You're coming back every single year. Let's be honest, all of us, okay? You come Yom Kippur, you come Rosh Hashanah. I did this wrong, I did this wrong, I did this wrong. Next year, okay, I am going to make all my brachos and I'm going to wake up on time. No? Yes or no? Yes or no? If you would look at your records, like, one time I found my records from when I just got married. I was like 20 years old. And I wrote this whole thing about, I'm going to say this with kavana and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And it's 20 years later, and I'm like, uh-oh. Let's not talk about it. Like I still haven't done it. Do you see what I mean? This is what we have to appreciate. Believe me, there's no person who would have the patience and love for you the way Hashem has the patience and love for you. Being honest, no person. Okay?
The thing is, it's not a person, it's the one. And that's the thing that Hashem, we compare it, we bring it down to our own limited thing,
Limited thing.
And,
right.
and
that's
it's
why
very difficult for us to know and remember that.
Yeah, that's why I think it's so important. Like now that you know, even if you remember, like we could do this class 1,000 times, and that's fine. Because even if you're picking up some nuance, like now I have some nuances, right? All of us, that we're picking up, even if we can't remember 100% of it, you remember 10%, you remember 5%, you remember 3%, you still have changed the quality of your prayer and you still have opened your mind. And that's something to be grateful for. That's all. That's a bracha that we have. Okay, let me see. Okay, we said that.
You said 20 years ago you wrote all those things, but 20 years later, look what you're doing.
Baruch Hashem.
All of us.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you very much.
True.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so so it's very interesting. When we think about this whole concept, you want to say Hodu Lashem Ki Tov. If anybody knows Devorah Sassman, she does it all the time. I go, hi, Devorah, how are you? Hodu Lashem Ki Tov, okay? It's a very nice way to speak. It's the same, like Baruch Hashem is also beautiful. I'm not saying not, they're both beautiful. Hodu Lashem Ki Tov means like we should praise Hashem because he is so good. They're both beautiful. We're both blessed as Jewish people. We're blessed as Jewish people that
it's the language of Hashem.
Yes. Like if you stop and you think about like the way people speak today, like once upon a time, people who were presidents and people who, were representing the country had dignified language. And today, like every swear word is in everybody's mouth. Doctor, lawyer, whatever, president. It's not like once upon a time, okay, I'm in front of the Max, a 7-Eleven, all these, goofy teenagers are sitting outside and their legs are hanging out and they're drinking all their Slurpees and smoking all their weed, okay, because now they can do that. Okay, so they're doing all those things, right? And they're saying that this word, that word, that word, this word, that word. Hey, you say, okay, listen, they're just silly teenagers. But today, this is the way people speak. Like they say every not nice word, right? And we're Baruch Hashem, we're so blessed. Because look at the language that you're using. Baruch Hashem, Imirta Hashem, Hodu Hashem. You have such a beautiful, godly way of speaking and of announcing the gratitude that you have, okay?
And Bezrat Hashem.
Yeah, Bezrat Hashem, all of those things. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop because it's like already 9:27. And next week we'll pick up from this point and then we'll learn when you do tshuva. Like I love it. And it's going to make everybody who had a different past, a different past than you have the life you live now. And you sometimes look at the stuff that you did. And if you regret it, you have to know what happens to it. In the spiritual realm, you have no idea what you've accomplished. So that's what I'm going to save that what's it called? Cliffhanger for next week.
That is lovely. That's
Okay.
beautiful.
Yeah, so let me just, I'm going
Thank
to
you
shut
so
this off.
much.
Thank you. Wait, we're going to say Tehillim, right? Because there is a lot going on and Hashem has to really